Have you ever gone through extremely painful emotions that have completely caused you to lose control over yourself and your composure? So, today I want to talk about resilience and integrity. So, today's video is going to be an introduction about this topic, and I would like to mention those, I think, very important topics, especially in our day to day. And it's also a very intriguing topic, I find, as many scientists and psychologists and neurobiologists have looked into it. And they sort of came to many conclusions, but also the biggest questions that comes up here is why are some people more resilient than others, and where does it stem from, and can you learn it? So there's still many questions, and but there are also many answers. So I looked into that topic, and I would like to give you a few key points about that today. So the first one is I would like to refer to a book, and I will use it as well to explain a few things for you today. I marked one page in particular because I think it's a good introduction, and I would like to actually bring it across to you today. It's a German book, but I'm sure it's also available in an English language. So if you don't speak German, then of course you're free to find it online in English. It's a bestseller, or it was a bestseller because it's not the newest book, but I actually personally found those hints and information very, very valuable. So, what is resilience? Resilience is actually the ability to develop strength and rise above a traumatic situation. And we can recall many situations that can cause us distress, and many people go through trauma in different ways. So if you see some people that actually find themselves struggling, overcoming a trauma, other people actually experience post-traumatic growth. It's not an easy thing to achieve, as all individuals are different in their characters, in their experience, and in their upbringing, which is very important if it comes to resilience, because first of all, the way, where, and how you've been raised has a big impact on that. So your environment has a big impact on that. Your beliefs and also your genetics have a big impact on that. And having said that, how can you actually find out how to learn resilience if you don't naturally possess it? I think it's very, very difficult to just point out in one direction. Psychology is normally not something where you can point to one direction, because there's too many connections to an entity, if you like. And so what is the secret of the psychological resistance to all the challenges that human beings have to face on this planet, and lately even more than in the past, if I can say so, at least for the modern generation. We haven't been raised in war, and we haven't been raised in times of pandemics, and now we are experiencing one after another. I think we can look very much to the Ukrainian nation if we want to learn one very big aspect about resilience, and that is, if you come from I will say, a place of continuous strain and threat and uncertainty. Those are probably three words that will give you the chills, and maybe give you a little cold chill down your spine, as they are not nice feelings, not nice emotions, and not a nice place to be in. However, the way that I observed on the news, or even with people that I have met in real life, and how they are actually dealing with all the tragedy that is going on there right now is admirable. That's first. But secondly, it's also very intriguing because I have been in the Ukraine and I have met people there. I've seen their faces there. And I have to say, at first, I found it a little bit depressing to be in a metro in Kiev. And it was my first day. It was very loud and people were very contained. They had very some had tense, some had sad faces, as I feel. Some looked tired, and you could see the influence of the Soviet metro station that now, today, is a shelter for so many Ukrainians. And what I want to say here is that my feeling at first wasn't very positive. I have to be honest, and then I figured the reason why that was is I felt tension. I felt somehow a little bit depressed. I felt it's not like you're going through Venice and you look at beautiful food and you see some nice buildings and glitter and whatnot. You can see the Soviet Union down there in the metro station. It's still in every wall and every brick stone. But what I want to say here is that the people, although under all this strain that they have lived on for so many years, when you go to a restaurant, when you enjoy nightlife in Kiev, as I was lucky to experience later on my journey, then you see that people modernize and they still live a life where they have a big heart and they're very warm people. So even if I experience a language barrier, as I don't speak Ukrainian or Russian, they still tried, and many young people spoke in English, and I could see this. I could see life in them. I could see a light. I could feel a big openness, although I was a stranger. And many people were saying, "Oh, Ukrainians are not very open to the outside world due to their experience." It wasn't my experience, I have to say. My experience was totally different. I felt very welcomed, and the other thing, now there's the other big word, it was integrity. And that is what I saw in every corner, whether it was small help towards an elderly person to open a door, to help point the right direction where to go, even when I couldn't find I didn't have cash on me, and I couldn't find a working ATM because my card where I tried wasn't accepted, and I was at the train station. Some young Ukrainian man actually literally bought me a ticket, and it's not about what you receive in finances. I mean the gesture itself, and also the gesture where I always felt like the warmth and somewhat of a safety net. I had the feeling that I could count on help wherever I went. And now, after I see what happens nowadays with the war, I can only confirm it even more and 10 times, 20 times more than I experienced back then. So what I want to say here now, and let's get back to resilience, is, as I said, the capability to recover quickly from difficulty. Now we see those people at the train stations and they keep their calm although they are nervous, and they keep going and they don't back down and they don't give in to fear. Is, I think, when you learn over time in difficult environments to stabilize yourself in a very difficult environment. So you develop these kind of, the ability, you develop it through your genes, you pass it on to the next generation, or you even develop it naturally as a survival tool, if you like, to actually sustain and to survive in the face of difficulty, in the face of fear, of threat, and all the other bad emotions. So this is on a big scale. On a smaller scale, when we experience stresses like a job loss or divorce or loss of a child, and death and the fear of that and so on. We live in a world that is actually challenging us with quite a lot. So having said that, I think that what makes people to develop strong personalities, which is based on modern science, on psychology, psychiatry, sociology, pedagogics, and neurobiology. So this is not something I'm saying, this is based on true facts, is that some people actually have the emotional intelligence, and now this is probably an important keyword here as well, to develop resilience in a natural way. Other people have to put a little bit more effort into this to actually develop these skills and see things from a different perspective, to strengthen their nervous system, to strengthen their mind in what they feed their mind, and how they actually in a resilient way can withstand all the bad things that they hear and they see, and still focus on what is helping them to survive and to overcome a trauma, overcome difficult situation, overcome sadness, and basically overcome the impossible. And so I want to say it's not just the genes. Based on those facts also mentioned here in this book, it's something that you can actually learn from other people. So that is why I use the Ukrainians at this time as a big example for that, because I actually think it's worth to be used as an example. And everybody nowadays can actually, I think, more comprehend what I'm trying to say here. And I think that everybody has fears in their lives. Everybody has gone through their own tragedies. And there are huge tragedies and smaller tragedies. But bear in mind, all tragedies, if they are our own problems are always the biggest ones. But also, what I want to say is that resilience can be built on integrity. And that's the other thing that I used in the example about the Ukrainian nation. And also what we can see right now, what is happening in Europe, that we can stand together. And integrity can actually trigger more natural flow of resilience, because one goes hand in hand with the other, as I see it. If you feel like you have a safety net, if you feel like you stand together and you have a unity and people to count on, where you can actually trust, then I think resilience also is fueled and resilience can grow. So you can grow resilience on your own little path, and also on the bigger collective part, and grow stronger and overcome all difficulties. And with this skill set of how to build resilience in everyday life, I will follow up in my next video. Until then, stay safe and thank you.